Greetings and welcome to Talk Point again on Lagos Television. My name is Omololu Rosanwo. On Talk Point today, we'll be looking at the Edo Governorship elections that just ended on Saturday. The results did not come out until late Sunday evening, and we already know the winner of that election, APC's Monday Okpebolo, won the election, defeating PDP's Asue Gudalo and also Labour Party's Olumide Akpata. It was initially, we thought it was going to be a two-horse race here, or three-horse race, but it became a two-horse race looking at the results that just came out. That's what we'll be focusing on today, and I have somebody that will be doing dealings with that. Yinka Debiribe, nice to have you on Talk Point.
Yes, thank you, Rosanwo. Thanks for having me here once again. Thanks, Nigerians, for keeping it locked on to LTV. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's quickly look at your own assessment of what happened in Edo State. Although you weren't there, but everybody monitored the exercise. What's your own assessment? We thought it was going to be a three-horse race before, but now it turned out to be just a two-horse race. Looking at the figure that came out, PDP had 247,274, and APC had 291,667, while the Labour Party polled just 22,763. Your assessment?
Yeah, well, an off-season election, but again, it has gone to validate the fact that Nigerian democracy is growing and is getting more stamina. Now the elections are gone. The season of governance will soon begin in earnest. I believe that between now and November, when October, not November. It's October.
Yes, October.
When the new
governor
Elmsman is sworn in, then they will be able to at least kick off governance in full swing. There's no point crying over any spilled milk. That is, if there's any milk that's spilled anyway. But I believe that Edo State again has demonstrated the will of the people to make changes where they think is necessary. And that actually is the heart of democracy. The fact that whatever might be your misgivings, that the power to change lies with you via your votes. And that is very key. It's actually what makes democracy tick. And that was what we saw on display in Edo State on Saturday.
Let's go pre the election. A whole lot of things happened. There were campaigns by all the political parties. In all, about 17 political parties campaigned, and the serious campaign actually came from just 3 of them or so. Now it has translated to a champion emerging out of all of them. But before then, there were issues in Edo State, and that has to do with the incumbent governor or the outgoing governor, let me put it that way now, and his former deputy. There were issues. Couldn't that have been a factor that has affected him not, his party not coming back and fielding Asue Ighodalo? Yes,
just as I was discussing with some couple of friends, that the vortex of power that informed the last election in Edo, the calculus has changed. What happened then was not what happened on Saturday. You saw the outgoing governor now, carrying so many baggages that he needn't have carried, going into so many wars that he actually needn't have fought. And that dissipated a lot of his energy and also demotivated the entire class of structure that was behind him that provided and produced him for the second term. So you can't have a house divided against itself and you expect it to stand. Whatever misgiving, is like what some people will call self-combustion. When you douse yourself with petrol and then ignited it. I mean, you just die for nothing. If eventually the thing ignites and then you got burnt, because you don't really need to go that route. Fighting this, fighting that, fighting, there's none that you are able to resolve. In fact, it pitched you so much in the temple of embarrassment that you begin to be seen as a pariah. At that point, you become even a burden to the person that you are canvassing to take over from you. So at that point, there are issues. I agree with you. And there might be some of the things that actually showed forth in Saturday's election. So whichever way we want to look at it, the fact remains that I believe professional politicians are taking note of some of the lessons that these off-season elections are giving us, and are trying to learn from those lessons, pick their notes, and then avoid the likely playback in their own domains. Because there's no point going into the same error that a colleague has already gone through. You know what will happen vis-a-vis what happened in Edo State. And so the fact remains, we are growing, our democracy is getting stronger, we are learning the lessons, and we should emerge stronger than before.
Yes, hoping that the professional politicians, just like you put it, will learn, because it's a learning curve for every politician. Even the electorate is a learning curve for everyone. So we're hoping that will be a lesson. We'll still come back to some lessons that should or will be learned from it. Now let's look at the electorates themselves. About 2.6 million are registered in Edo State. About 2.2 million were said to have collected their permanent voter cards. But on the election day, we found out that less than 700,000 got accredited, ready to vote. Why do we have a low turnout in that system?
A number of issues might have led to that. One is political apathy arising from the last general election. A lot of Nigerians are yet to forgive the system for whatever reason. A lot of Nigerians, especially the younger generation, feel disillusioned about the whole process, feel discouraged and disenchanted, and have adopted the I don't care attitude to the election process. But you see, sadly, since we all have agreed that democracy is the path we want to follow, and since party politics has become the only way to groom and, get leadership, then we cannot drop the ball. I want to believe that from the data you have reeled out, it is very clear that majority of Edo State people Edolites, they call themselves, are not in that election.
Could it be as a result of some of them
Well,
registered, didn't go back to Edo State? You know,
They were there, but they did not just participate. And that must be the concern of the new man. How he cements relationship and what he will do in office will go a long way in bringing more people back into the political arena, and especially the electorates. If he goes via the path of winner takes all, then he will destroy everything. This is not because the totality of votes is just a little over 700,000, and you have well over 2.9 million people that are credited. So they are so huge a disparity that you cannot say you have won. You did not really. The people still won, but then you have been, voted in to lead the process for a change. And that is what Edo State people need at this time. They need healing.
Yes, okay.
A lot of them need healing, and the new governor-elect must provide the balm. Otherwise, the whole thing will cake.
Can I put it to you that rain could be another delay or another discouragement from having people turn out, because it rained on Saturday, the 21st of September in Edo State?
We have seen Nigerians troop out under even more severe climatic conditions to perform their civic responsibility. One, the position of the National Orientation Agency is largely missing here. You hardly see them on ground anywhere in the state. That's one of their responsibilities, conscientizing people on the need to perform their civic responsibility. You can't just get to sleep because it is politics. You must play your part. But they are missing here. People are hurting. And this off-season election have shown very clearly that the healing process is yet to take place. Mm-hmm. And until the basic people, the man on the street, forgives the system, we will still continue to have very short and shoddy outcomes like we had on Saturday. The disparity is so huge, but then a leader must emerge, and one has emerged. But what he does, therefore, from the moment he's sworn in, determines the shape of what we see in Edo State going forward.
Yes, another factor that I want us to look at is the economic factor. Could that have also been responsible? Because if you look at it too, some people may have been discouraged to say, look, I don't want to travel this far to Edo State to go and vote for somebody because I stay, let's take for instance, I stay in Ogun State, or I stay in Lagos, or I stay in Osun State, and I registered in Edo State, and I don't want to change it. But I won't waste my money on that election to go back to Edo to vote. Couldn't that have affected too, economic factor?
No, but you have well over 2 million accredited voters.
I'm part of the 2 million accredited.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You are. See, if elections become a ceremony, there's no place that is too far. Honestly, if it's something that you look forward to, no place is too far.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Edo State is the heart of the country.
That's what I'm saying, because it's a source of concern now. My producer is also telling me, because we're a team, that yes, 2 weeks before too, the election, and the INEC had confirmed those that are eligible to vote. Now, if that has been confirmed 2 weeks before now, and couldn't I have planned? Did I, or do I have enough funds to muster together to go to Edo State? Looking at the high cost of transportation and stuff like that, couldn't that have affected too?
One leg of the argument is to agree that I could have led to it. Another leg is to say that that is even enough reason to do a protest vote and choose any of the other two. Why go to APC? Because, I mean, you are just validating the fact that APC is suitable to you. That whatever you are saying at the bigger level or national politics is just one of the things that must come with hard decisions that must be taken. You know, you are not expressing your innermost feelings by your votes because it's not translating. The only one that could have translated to that scored less than 30,000, 40,000 votes.
2,000
So what are
votes.
we then saying?
Yes, if we're looking at that too, couldn't it have been a win situation for the Labour Party, the third us in the race? Because if you do not want APC and you do not want PDP and there's Labour Party for you to vote for, why didn't Edo people vote for Labour Party? That means they are happy with the APC candidate. Is that not a factor?
The fact remains that Edo State people, by Saturday's election, have told us that they wanted APC. And they voted APC. It is the better of the three devils. Because like people used to say, the devil you know is better than the angel you have not seen. APC they knew. Because Adam Oshiomole Baba has been there. They know what he has performed. In fact, the first cycle of Obaseki was also APC. So they are at home with APC. Before then, they've been in bed with PDP. So they also know PDP quite well. You understand? So they just pick the better out of the two devils. And there we have the results in front of us, undeniably.
Now, there's another factor that we should also look into. If you look at the trend of the votes, Edo has 18 local governments, right?
Yeah.
Now, 3 senatorial districts.
Exactly.
But if you look at the trend of the votes, we have more votes coming from Edo North. Although PDP candidates won in Edo Central and Edo East. But if you look at the number of votes he got, they weren't as high as what Edo North gave the APC. Now, what does that translate into?
It translates into a party that knew the political strength of the zones and went for it even before the election. And so it has been sealed even before they went to the polls. And so that was what they did. They just went to capture Edo North votes. And knowing that the other party would be strong, so they did not contend with the other party in those other 2 areas, but went to where it had assumed that he has a stronghold. You know, and that's what you find. You see, politics has become something more technical and more scientific. And that's why I said politicians must begin to take notes from this election and begin to learn 1 or 2 things from it, because it will really shape their responses to voter behavior and apathy and all of that may also stare them in the face when it is their own time.
As somebody who is not biased at all, we also need to state it clearly. Why is it that the obedient movement has not gotten its force together to move into the Labour Party to support Olumide Akpata? Why has that not translated in it? And looking at the power of the social media and what the youths have, why has it not changed anything in this election in Edo State for Olumide Akpata?
It cannot change anything because obedient movement is a force on its own for a particular person. It is just just bad that Nigeria did not recognize independent candidacy. If it had been so, you would have seen a Peter Obi emerging as a presidential candidate from a no party. But because he needed a political platform, he went to the Labour Party. So what you see in Edo State is the strength, the organic strength of Labour Party. And don't forget, Obedient Movement is different from Labour Party. They have told us several times at different fora that they are not the same. In fact, they have different administrative structures. So you can't expect Obedient Movement to move, because they were not brought together to work for Labour Party. They were brought together to work for the dream of Peter Obi.
But Peter Obi canvassed votes.
He did, because he was a presidential candidate of the Labour Party.
Yes, he canvassed votes. Why didn't that translate?
He cannot, because a movement was for him. The movement was like a structure.
It didn't rub off on him.
You are not. See, the Obedient Movement is an independent movement. Just as our God also had his own structures. Just as any politician will have structures. So it's a structure within Labour Party. And the structure can decide, and it did decided, that it's different from Labour Party. So what you find in Edo is just the organic power, the organic strength of Labour Party, and not about Obedient Movement.
Okay. Yes. As we round up now, the People's Democratic Party says it is not satisfied with the election results that was produced in Edo State. That there were vote buying, there were election discrepancies. Now, where should they go? Electoral Act talks about you going to the tribunal. Are they headed for the tribunal? And is there any hope for them?
Well, that is where they should head to. Is there any hope for them? When we get to the bridge, we will cross it.
Okay. Finally, let me just ask you, what advice do you have? Because Edo people would want development, just like you said from the beginning. They want development. They want better service delivery. Now, are you foreseeing the political parties coming together, or political leaders, let me put it that way now, coming together to work with Monday or Pueblo to ensure that Edo gets better?
That's what I foresee. I foresee a situation where Edo people will realize that development first, development second, development third. They will realize that they've lost 8 years. That is if I thought they lost anything. And that they need to recover. And so, just rally round this Monday that we are talking about on a Monday. And make him succeed. You have said you don't mind that he's not forceful and is not proficient in English. You want him as he is, words and all. Then support him to succeed. From this moment on, the governor-elect Senator Monday Ekpebolo has become the factor in Edo politics. It is Monday's time.
Okay. Yes, it is Monday's time. Coincidentally, it is Monday today too. Well, it is well, and we expect that things will get better. I want to thank you so much, Yinka Adelebegbe, for coming on Talk Points.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, we've been discussing part of the assessment of what happened in Edo State. The election held on Saturday, September 21st. And of course, APC's Monday Pueblo has been announced as the winner of that election. It is expected that things will start to get better so that the nation and indeed Edo State can get better. On that note, we have come to the end of Top Points. 767 and 112 still remains the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Ensure that you are peaceful and contribute your own quota to the development of Nigeria. I am Omololu Rosanwo saying bye-bye.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing